Well, we're back in Richmond, and the format of the evening has been changed because of this long delay that we have had, a result of the crash in the midget race. What they're going to do is they're going to run the Silver Crown feature race now, 134 laps, and then they will complete the midget feature after the Silver Crown race. A lot of the midget cars were damaged, and the drivers and crews need some time to get them ready to go again, and so that's what they're going to do.
Well, obviously they didn't want to shorten the race. They thought they might do that. The fans didn't like that idea very well, and neither did some of the drivers. So they thought better of it. They decided that this would be the best way to go. Let the race run, but we'll do it after the Silver Crown race while some of these guys get a chance to repair their cars and get them back on the racetrack.
So the drivers are being fitted into their Silver Crown cars, and Dave Despain was caught up with another member of the starting field at the Indianapolis 500 this year.
Well, we've actually got 10 guys who got to drive in the 500s, just like days of old. This is Paul Durant, and hey, this is a big change in joints from that 2.5-mile place to this 3/4-mile oval. How you liking it?
Well, it's nice. It's obviously not the same as Indy, but it's a lot of good close racing, and these guys drive hard, so it's going to be a great race.
What about the thrill of racing in the Indy 500 and getting to take part in the big tennis tournament and all the fun that you had up there? Huh?
Oh, you got me. This guy, it's not even fair. I play golf halfway decent, can race okay, and he has to show me doing a charity tennis. That's
we picked on you a little bit. Thanks for being a good sport. But I tell you what, it's got to be a thrill to see guys from these kinds of divisions get that shot, get to go to the Indianapolis 500. How do you figure this whole experience may have changed your racing future?
You know, I don't know. I guess probably the biggest thing is it just lent some credibility to what I was trying to do and putting some sponsorship programs together. Before, you'd talk to people and they'd look at you like, you know, you're really crazy. You're thinking of going to Indy. And now that I've been there, you know, you get some attention and people will talk to you, and there's a little bit more willingness to help. So hopefully it'll open some doors, and, you know, we'll get the opportunity to go back.
Okay, man, go get in the race car. I promise I'll never challenge you on the tennis court, okay?
Yeah, you don't have anything to lose if you do.
That's Paul Durant. He's all the way back in 22nd starting spot, so he's got some hurrying to do as they line up the Silver Crown cars. We'll take a break and be back with more. We're live at Richmond International Raceway, where we shuffle the deck, and we're going big car racing.
This is Richmond International Raceway in Virginia. We're here for ESPN2's Thunder, featuring the Skoll Midgets and the Silver Crown division. We ran 12 laps of the midget race and had a very bad crash over in turn number 2 that involved a lot of fire. Nobody hurt. We're getting set for the Silver Crown race. In the meantime, let us show you the results of qualifying that will set the stage for tomorrow's NASCAR Winston Cup race at Pocono International Raceway. Jeff Gordon is on the pole. Former Thunderhead Derek Cope is second. Hut Strickland third. Ricky Craven will line up fourth, and Ken Schrader will line up fifth. Dale Jarrett, as you know, broke his leg, and Kenny Wallace will be standing by to possibly relieve him tomorrow. Now, at Pocono today, the Arca race was won by Mike Wallace. Tim Steele was second. Ron Barfield third. Harris Devane was fourth, and Bobby Gerhardt finished in fifth position. Now, the Formula One circus is in North America this weekend for the Canadian Grand Prix tomorrow, and Damon Hill will have the pole position for that, with last year's Indy 500 winner Jacques Villeneuve rounding up second. Michael Schumacher, the defending world champion, is third in the lineup. John Alesi fourth, and Eddie Irvine will start fifth in tomorrow's Grand Prix of Canada, which you can see live on the Deuce at 12:50 Eastern Time tomorrow afternoon. Stand by now. In just a few more minutes, the Silver Crown cars will get fired up and begin their 134 laps of competition.
Good afternoon. Charlie Steiner in the SportsCenter newsroom. This just in, Seattle Seahawks wide receiver Brian Blades, who was convicted of manslaughter on Friday, had that verdict overturned within the hour by Judge Susan LeBeau in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It comes on the heel of a motion filed by the defense last Thursday. The motion was ruled upon within the hour. So the manslaughter charges against Seattle Seahawks wide receiver Brian Blades have been overturned. We will have complete details on the astonishing story from Fort Lauderdale coming up on SportsCenter at 6:30 Eastern Time. For now, I'm Charlie Steiner, ESPN.
justly deserved by being inducted into the Sprint Car Hall of Fame. It happened last weekend. This was the 7th such ceremony held at the Hall of Fame and Museum located in Knoxville, Iowa. 7 of the 9 living inductees were on hand to accept their awards, including 1973 USAC Sprint Car champion Raleigh Beal.
Caps off a fun-loving career that I had for 27 years, and it's just so good to have people come up with an institution like this that takes care of, but honors people that had so much fun doing what they like to do all the time.
You know, it takes 3 things, to my way, to be successful. Not just drive sprint cars, but be successful. Determination. You got to have that feeling in your gut. I think that's number 1. A little bit of ability and some luck. But I want to tell you what, you show me somebody that's got that burning desire to absolutely. Now, he's going to get knocked down a lot, but he's going to keep getting up. And he's going to get it done. And I think that's the common denominator, anybody that's been successful in this game.
Also on hand was the man who is still the winningest sprint car driver of all time in the United States Auto Club, 78 champ Tom Bigelow.
There's been so many good people helped me get where I'm at. Probably the greatest moment was making Indianapolis. You know, that's what I dreamt of since I was 12 years old. And making the race in 1973 and then getting bumped, that was quite a disappointing deal. But then making it in 1974 and getting in there, that was a fabulous deal.
Other USAC inductees were longtime official Russ Clendenin, car owner Willie Davis, and Mario Andretti. And let's take a look at the entire list of inductees from last weekend. They include Emil Landris and Jerry Boney, some very famous names that I can remember growing up, Larry.
Hey, all of those guys have done a tremendous job. Russ Clendenin, he was a USAC official. He slapped my hand more than a few times when he was head of the USAC division. And
among the other names on this list, J.W. Hunt, who contributed so much in terms of money, but just being a friend and a fan of racing. He was inducted also, and a name down near the bottom, Johnny Thompson, one of the great drivers back in the 50s at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and in AAA and in USAC. Congratulations to all those guys who were and girls who were inducted into the Hall of Fame. There is the grid as we approach the start of the 134-lap Silver Crown race here at Richmond. We'll be right back in a moment.
We're back live, Richmond International Raceway. The midgets for the moment are parked. They'll be back out later. We shift our attention to the Silver Crown cars, the big cars, the Indy cars of old. A year ago in this race, this man, Jack Hewitt, won the last chance qualifier. He's a dirt track guy. Went out there on hard tires, passed the field, and won the race. Hewitt, are you going to go do that again tonight?
Well, they give me 2 more cylinders in my Ford this year, so I'd say we got a better chance.
What's the strategy? You don't have to pass near as many guys tonight. You're starting 9th. Are you going to try to save the tires, or are you going to go to the front in a hurry?
My dad told me it's not how fast, it's how far.
Not how fast, it's how far. Good luck to number 63. Come on, let's take a walk. Look at some of these race cars. These things make 700 horsepower, and they weigh 1,500 pounds. But they don't weigh 1,500 pounds when they start the race, because back here in this tank, they've got 75 gallons of fuel. Do the arithmetic. That's a 500-gallon fuel load that they're going to burn off during the course of the race. Come on, we got to hurry. It's time to start the engines. Let's cut right through here. Here's the situation. They're going to run soft tires on a bunch of the cars up at the front of the field. The front row, Randy Tolsma and Dave Steele, have both gone with a soft compound tire. Will it run 100 miles? Remains to be seen. If they get a yellow about 70 miles into it, don't be at all surprised if we see some pit stops. Now back here at the back end of the grid, all set to kick off the show, is the guy who's about to celebrate his 80th birthday. I feel 80 years old walking all the way down here. Let me take this moment just to welcome the folks in the grandstand here. Hello, Thunderheads. Welcome to ESPN. We're glad you're here tonight. Want to introduce to you Mr. Paul Sawyer. He's the man who has made this racetrack everything it is today. We congratulate you on your birthday and on this terrific facility. You got about 4 words that you want to say to start this show.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
There you have it, the command to fire them up. We're just about set to go 134 laps, 100 miles with the big cars. Back up top.
It is open wheel madness at Richmond International Raceway. We've already seen the midgets out on the racetrack, the Formula Ford 2000 cars, and now we get set for the headliner of the evening. The USAC Silver Crown cars are ready.
It's a gathering of the big stars who drive the big cars, but the headliners of the USAC Silver Crown division keep chasing number 69, Mike Bliss. Remember this wild finish? But now it's on to Richmond, where last year the dirt track legend Jack Hewitt in the white 63 set the pavement gentry on its ear.
Randy Tolson's got to pull a trick out of the bag if he wants to get around him. Can't do it there.
And there is the checkered flag for Hewitt. Hewitt does it. Welcome back to Richmond International Raceway. We're getting set for the Silver Crown race. 134 laps of competition. Larry, I can't get away from the man. Benny Parsons. He called me and said it was Mike Wallace that's going to possibly relieve for Dale Jarrett tomorrow, not Kenny Wallace.
Hey, Benny, we're glad you're watching, man.
The top qualifiers in tonight's Silver Crown race. Randy Tolsma led him at 131.3 miles an hour. David Steele, Kenny Irwin, Tony Stewart, Jim Keeker, and Jimmy Sills were the top 6 qualifiers. Everybody is running. Let's take a look at the lineup. Tolsma and Steele will start on row number 1. Kenny Irwin Jr. and Tony Stewart will be in row number 2. The third row, Jim Keeker and Jimmy Sills. Row number 4, Jackie Burke and Davey Hamilton. Fifth row, Jack Hewitt and Ryan Newman. Row 6, Pat Abold and Mike Bliss. The 7th row, Bentley Warren and Dave Darlin. 8th row, Frankie Kerr and Johnny Heidenreich. The 9th row, Tice Carlson and Brian Tyler. Row 10, Chuck Gurney and Kevin Doty. The 11th row, Kenny Irwin and Paul Durant. The 12th row, Wally Pankratz and Chip Thomas. Row 13, Robbie Flock and Bruce Field. The 14th row, Rusty McClure and Bill Bowie, and Chet Phillip and Jimmy McCune are in the last row. Now, Bruce Field in car number 7 is substituting for Johnny Parsons, who was injured in a midget crash. There's Mike Bliss. He hasn't lost this year in Silver Crown competition that he's competed in.
Well, he's been terrific. He's won almost every pavement race he's run for the last, well, he's led everyone he's been in, I think, the last 10 races, and won most of those. He's been almost unbeatable in that 69 car. Let's take a look there. Go ahead, Bob.
In 1993 and in 1994, look at that. 4 wins in 6 attempts on the left side of your screen, and then jumping over to 95 and 96. He indicated and won 3 more times at Phoenix, in 95, again at Phoenix, and this year, and at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Bentley Warren will carry the in-car onboard camera.
Well, of course, that's Boston Louis Seymour's car. It's a CarQuest cage cam, and he's a pretty proficient guy on the pavement. As we see all those marbles flying up there, that's all the oil dry that they put on the racetrack.
Here we go, getting set for the green flag off of corner number 4, and the green flag is out, and the pole sitter Randy Tolsma gets a terrible start. Kenny Irwin Jr. passes him on the inside, but it's the outside row that has the best jump, and David Steele is out front.
David Steele followed by Tony Stewart. That's George Snyder's car. George Snyder is not going to run the pavement anymore, so he's put Tony Stewart and Davey Hamilton in his cars, and Stewart right now jumped out into second place very quickly.
Irwin is third, followed by Tolsma, and then Jimmy Sills, your top 5 at the end of lap number 1.
That's the in-car camera, that black car back there you see with Bentley Warren. As we can see, David Steele has pulled out into a few car lengths lead.
That's Johnny Heidenreich up ahead in car number 80 of Bentley Warren. He has our onboard camera as he comes off of corner number 4 onto the main straightaway. We're seeing a lot of cars bottoming out.
Well, that's because of all the fuel.
Right.
There's 500 pounds of fuel behind the driver. They set the race cars up so they'll handle later in the race. Ooh, he got up and just barely tapped the wall coming off of 2. That's a very tight part of the course. And he did just barely touch the fence, I think, right there.
Yeah, I think he did, too. That was right at the area where the big midget crash occurred, but he is okay. Tice Carlson's car is sparking badly as it goes around the course, and so is Bentley Warren's.
Well, Again, I think that's because of all the fuel, and they've just, Jimmy Keeker's pulled down to the inside.
He says it's a spark plug wire. We're listening to his radio. That's Jim Keeker coming in. He led a...
Hail, Tony Irwin.
See them in there. They're all checking the spark plug wires. They told them that was the problem. They all went around there. Doesn't seem to be anything that they found. They looked, but didn't really find much, I don't think.
We're looking at second, third, and fourth here as David Steele has a very comfortable lead. That is Tony Stewart, followed by Kenny Irwin and the sixth car of Randy Tolsma. Second, third, and fourth. 6 laps out of 134 completed now. Now Irwin took a look to the inside of Stewart in corner number 1.
Yes, he's trying very hard to get around Tony Stewart. The thing is, you don't want to heat your tires up. We've talked before. Oh, he went way down inside of him right there. He moved over Tony Stewart. Stewart, I think, just turned right a little bit to get out of the way. Too early to crash or get in a confrontation like that.
And Mike Bliss is moving up through the field. He's alongside Dave Garland in car number 56 and the 39 car of Ryan Newman there.
Yeah, he's moving up pretty well. You know, this guy is so smooth. He's a very patient driver also. He's not going to do anything really silly as we got a car slowed way down over there.
That's Tolsma. It appears Randy Tolsma slowing on the backstretch. The guy that chased Jack Hewitt to the checkered flag last year and the fastest qualifier, in fact, setting a new track record here tonight.
Motor quit. Yeah, that'll real hard.
Heard him say the motor quit? Yep, that's exactly what happened. So Tolsma comes into the pit area and the caution is on the speedway.
Yeah, he's going to head on down to the pit area, see if there's, you know, any chance that it might be just a switch or an electrical problem, but he didn't seem very happy about what was going on, did he?
Not very optimistic about getting back in the race. So Randy Tolsma is in, so is Jim Keeker, and a lot of activity here in the first 9 laps of this race. But as far as the activity on the speedway, it has been all David Steele. He is the leader at the moment as the pace car comes up and slows down the field for the first time here in our Silver Crown race. We'll take a break and be back with more open wheel madness from Richmond International Raceway. Stay with us.
We're back live at Richmond. You're looking at the front of the engine block on Randy Tolsma's car. I don't know if you can see it down in there. It's the oldest joke in racing. It's an ignition problem. The ignition problem occurred when the rod came out through the side of the cylinder block. Tolsma has blown the engine. He's just climbed out. Let's get up and get a quick word. Did the thing give you any warning, Randy? It didn't come up to speed off the start.
No, you know, it just, we had a good car tonight, and we were just going to play it cool, and they jumped me on the start. They know when we're rushed for time on TV that you can get away with about anything, and they tried it, and it worked, and we were just hanging in tight. Just getting right into the corner here in Metro.
Tolsma had a shot at him last year, did not get the win. We're back to green. Quick update on Keeker. They could not find the ignition problem. He's still sitting on pit road.
And the green has come out, and a great battle. Here is Mike Bliss up on the high side of the racetrack, battling with the 87 car of Jackie Burke.
Yes, that's a battle for 7th place. He's already moved up. We take a look at Kenny Irwin, who is pulling away from Tony Stewart in 2nd place now.
There you see Bliss up on the high side of the racetrack, coming off of corner number 2 and down the backstretch. And there is the 111 car of Davey Hamilton also.
And that's Jimmy Sills in the white number 75 car. He just got around Stewart, moved into 3rd place.
And there is Bliss making the charge to the front. As you indicated, Larry, a very smart race driver. He'll save the tires. He'll make sure that he stays up front within sight of the leader, but he'll save the tires and then begin the charge late in the race, and he's moving up very nicely now. That's Mike Bliss. Coming off of corner number 4, he's now right behind Stewart.
Yeah, he's moved up 6. He just took over 5th place, so he has moved up very, very rapidly. And Stewart, on the other hand, has moved from 2nd back to 6th pretty quickly, too.
Yes, he has. That car has not performed like it did before we had the caution period. So Tony Stewart is not moving toward the front, but instead is going toward the back. Here is Bliss now in in corner number 1. There's quite a bit of racetrack between him and the next place car of Davey Hamilton.
Bentley Warren in that black car down on the inside. Looks like he's slowing down as he got into that corner down at turn 3. Look at this battle. That's Pat Abold in that black number 6, white number 65 there. And man, is he on the move. Hewitt right behind him in the white car.
Look who's behind Abold. It's the familiar number 63 Hampshire car driven by Jack Hewitt. Last year's winner, the defending champion of this race. Hewitt started on the inside of row number 5, and he is alongside Dave Darlin in car 56. Ahead of him, the 87 of Jackie Burke and the 65 of Abold. That's Ryan Newman, I believe, in that orange car, number 39.
Well, we got another car down on the inside.
So a lot of attrition here. That could be Jim Keeker, who has come out onto the racetrack and trying to get the car back up to speed. Yeah, that's who it is. But I don't think the car is going to run. He brings it back into the pit area. Jim Keeker having a heck of a time here tonight.
There's been a rule change since last year. This car was a 6-cylinder car when he led all those laps here last year. This year, 6-cylinder cars are illegal. Jack Hewitt also had a 6-cylinder car last year, so it's going to be interesting to see how he does with this new Ford 8-cylinder power plant.
That's the Gene Nolan-owned car. Jim Keeker at the helm from Cicero, Indiana, having his trouble here tonight. Meanwhile, Mike Bliss now leads this group of cars with Pat Abold there in the 65 car. Yeah, behind him is Tony Stewart.
Yes, Stewart has dropped back another spot. We see him still losing as we see right now. Looks like Jack Hewitt's going to go around him. So Tony Stewart's having all kinds of trouble with that George Snyder A.J. Foyt car.
Stewart to the inside, and Jack Hewitt to the inside, and taking another position away from Tony Stewart. Stewart just lined up this ride here today with the A.J. Foyt and George Snyder team. Qualified it well, 4th fastest.
There goes Hewitt down to the inside, and look who he's right behind now, Mike Bliss. I don't know whether Bliss got up so far and couldn't go anymore, or whether Hewitt's just picked up the pace that much, but he's really on the move right now. It looks like Hewitt's just flying.
Whoa, look at him. He picks off another spot as he passes Mike Bliss. Bliss doesn't care for that, but I don't think there's a whole lot he can do about it right now, because Jack Hewitt, as he did last year, is on the move. By the way, the lead is still held, a rather comfortable lead, is being held by David Steele.
That's Gary Irvin in that black number 48 car that David Steele is just now going around. Gary Irvin doesn't run very much in these kind of cars, but does run the pavement, and he's already been lapped in this race.
David Steele has 2 fifth-place finishes this year and a 22nd. He was 5th at Phoenix, 5th at Indianapolis Raceway Park, and 22nd in the most recent Silver Crown race on the dirt at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Now Mike Bliss and Pat Abold are running nose to tail. That's Jack Hewitt leading both of them.
Boy, Hewitt has really picked up the pace. When he ran around Mike Bliss that quickly, you know he's got to be running fast, because Bliss doesn't let people go around him for no reason, I can tell you.
Last year, just an incredible performance. There is Tice Carlson in car number 17. He also has brought the car down off of the banking at the racetrack onto the apron, and Tice Carlson, another one of those drivers who didn't make the field at Indianapolis this year, but did pass the driver's test and tried very hard to get into the field, competing here tonight.
And he did a very good job at Indianapolis. I got to give him a lot of credit.
There's Chip Thomas in car number 16 and the 88 of David Steele, as Steele laps Chip Thomas, and David Steele is on a rail. He is the leader here with 27 out of 134 laps completed at Richmond International Raceway in USAC Open Wheel Madness in the Silver Crown division. At Richmond International Raceway in the USAC Silver Crown cars. That's David Steele, and his lead has evaporated. It has vanished. It is gone. There is Kenny Irwin Jr. within 3-4 car lengths, and it's been closer than that the last few laps.
Yes, Kenny Irwin tried to get around him about 3 laps ago, and when he did, he heated up the right rear tire. And I think if you watch him, he's smoking that right rear. Right there, you can see a little bit of smoke rolling off of that right rear. Right now, he desperately needs a yellow flag or to run that car very, very straight for a couple of laps. Maybe this lap traffic will help him a little bit, but he made one desperate attempt to get around, and when it didn't work, he got the inevitable hot right rear that's costing a little time.
The traffic up front is Johnny Heidenreich in car number 80, the 37 of Chet Phillip, and who else? Oh, Brian Tyler is also up there in a 5 car.
Right there, looks like Steele got down to the inside, did a nice job in traffic so far. Kenny Irwin, though, is right on his tail. He doesn't want to make a big mistake, or Irwin's going to get it.
Well, they disposed of Chet Phillip, and now they get around Brian Tyler in car number 5, and so more lap traffic is out of the way for David Steele. But Kenny Irwin Jr. is right there on the back bumper.
David Steele is running the hard right rear. Kenny Irwin is running, I'm sorry, he's running the soft right rear. Kenny Irwin is running the hard right rear. So it's going to be interesting to see which one of these two philosophies works best. Some of the guys on the soft tires were talking about making a pit stop. I don't think David Steele's thinking about that right now, though.
We might mention, though, that if there is a caution period in the second half of the race, many drivers were talking earlier today about the possibility of a tire stop and coming in and getting fresh rubber, depending, of course, of where they are on the racetrack and on being on the lead lap. But they could come in and get a fresh set of tires for the final run to the finish.
Randy Tolsma almost won this race last year by making a pit stop on the yellow at about 80 or 90 laps. When he came back out, he had a fresher right rear tire. We see Paul Durand in the pit area. He's obviously got some problems. But he came back out with that new right rear tire and almost got around Jack Hewitt to win the race. But it's got to be done on the yellow so you don't lose a lap.
Paul Durand is losing laps as he sits there, and the crew working on that car. 39 have been completed now, so we're within the 100 lap mark. Still, David Steele is the leader of the race. 14 of Kenny Irwin Jr. is second. Jimmy Sills is running in third spot. Jack Hewitt is in fourth. And fifth is Pat Abel. Their second place, Kenny Irwin Jr.
Kenny Irwin's car has gotten loose. The back end is sliding around a lot more than it was earlier. I think once he got up there, gave that little tussle to David Steele, he got that right rear just a little bit hot. And I think right now he's being very, very cautious not to overheat that tire and blister, because if he does, he's going to go a lot further back than he is right now.
There's the third place car, Jimmy Sills, all the way from Placerville, California, and he's dirt tracking it into turn number 1. Meanwhile, let's go down into the pit area and talk to Dave Despain, who's in the
George Snyder, Tony Stewart's been going backwards. What's wrong with the car? Any idea?
Well, he hasn't said anything, but I think he's just trying to save the tires until a little bit later.
Are you guys planning on trying to change, or are you going to run it all the way on one set?
We're going to try to go all the way on one set.
So Tony Stewart may just be playing the waiting game here, saving the tires. This thing's a 100-miler. That's George Snyder. Doesn't drive the pavement races. He's got Tony Stewart in, and maybe this is just stretch.
I'm not so sure that's not a bad idea, Larry.
Well, it might be, you know. Obviously, right now, David Steele is handling so well that he doesn't have to use his tires. But some of the other guys who are battling traffic are using their tires up pretty good. We take a look right here. You can see that car is just a little bit loose as he's running around there. I think that might be Davey Hamilton.
Yeah, that is Davey Hamilton, who is running 6th. Now, Tony Stewart is running in 9th position. That is Davey Hamilton from Boise, Idaho.
Of course, he drove for AJ at the Indianapolis 500, did a terrific job for him, was very happy with the race car and the whole team, and so now he gets a chance to run the Silver Crown car as well.
Now, those cars are identical. It's hard to tell them apart except for an additional one that is on Davey Hamilton's car. There is the leader, David Steele, getting ready to pass some slower traffic. That's Kevin Doty. I believe he's about ready to lap.
Right, that's the 25 car. That's the car that Tony Stewart won the championship with last year, and that Glenn Ivel, of course, won the championship too with that car. But anyway, you know, Kevin Doty does not have the pavement experience, although he's done a terrific job in that car. But you can see right now, David Steele just really has that thing hooked up. Irwin, though, seems to catch him in traffic. He gets in that traffic, and Irwin seems to be just a little bit faster.
Ryan Newman also goes another lap down in car number 39, the orange car. Here comes Irwin again, sneaking up on David Steele. Again, as Larry said, the lap traffic seems to draw them closer together as they maneuver through. And there is Irwin now going to the inside of Ryan Newman.
Look at that. Mike Lift right in front of David Steele. I'll tell you what, I haven't seen Mike Bliss lapped on the pavement. I can't tell you the last time I saw him lapped on the pavement.
This is a very unusual sight right here. Number 69 being lapped during a Silver Crown pavement race. That just doesn't happen. But David Steele is making it happen here tonight. Hasn't gotten the pass pulled off yet, but is very close to doing so. So Mike Bliss moved up quickly from his starting position, but then kind of stalled and now goes a lap down to the field. Both the leader, David Steele, and now here comes second place, Kenny Irwin, are putting him a lap down.
Well, I tell you what, he's really got his hands full right there, and they've just missed the combination. Like I said, that doesn't happen very often, but obviously they missed it tonight.
David Steele has led every lap so far. Can he hold on for the rest of the way? We got a long way to go. Only 49 of the 134 laps are completed here at Richmond. We'll be right back. We are back at Richmond International Raceway, and we are watching some Silver Crown competition, and we almost had a crash up there in turn number 4.
Man, oh man, they got very, very close down there. We saw Kenny Irwin try to get under Jackie Burke, and man, they just about got together, and it was all kinds of smoke and problems up there all of a sudden.
And the black flag is being displayed to someone. Anyway, while we were away, there, by the way, is Kenny Irwin, who continues to run in second position with... No, I'm sorry. He's taken the lead, hasn't he?
He certainly has. He's got around. During that break, Kenny Irwin took the lead and is now in the lead. David Steele, he got him in the traffic. David Steele falling back just a little bit now, but Irwin really working the traffic.
And also, while we were away, Davey Hamilton pulled in. He was in 7th position when the car just slowed dramatically, and Davey brought it into the pits. The engine was sounding very, very rough when he pulled in.
And look at this.
Yeah.
Jimmy Sills now moved into second and is challenging Kenny Irwin for the lead. That's Kenny Irwin. Jimmy Sills in the white 75 car now running in second place. He's gotten around David Steele. David Steele's fallen back to third. He's the 4th, 5th car in the line there, but man, oh man, what a battle.
And let's go down to Dave Despain.
Davey Hamilton had run as high as 4th. What happened?
Well, the car was great. I'll tell you what, that's the best Silver Crown car I've ever had. But we had some fuel problems. I think it felt like some nozzles clogged out. But the whole race, the motor was missing and finally just shut off. But for a stick motor, the car was really handling good.
Any idea whether Tony's okay? Can he still win this thing?
It's hard to say. I don't really know what Tony's doing out there right now. Hopefully he can. We thank AJ. Hope you're watching.
Hamilton has just climbed out. Hasn't had a chance to talk to the crew. They're down to Stewart, and that's it for the Snyder team.
Jimmy Sills is in the lead. He took the lead from Kenny Irwin while Dave was doing that interview, and now Jimmy goes to the front and becomes the 3rd leader of the afternoon and evening.
That is a Mopar-powered car, the first one we've seen in the Silver Crown division for years and years. And obviously, Gary Stanton has that thing running pretty doggone good, as he did take the lead. And we saw Sills and also Kenny Irwin had a lot of trouble getting around Jackie Burke, as they both got down in the flat trying to get around him.
Jimmy Sills was the 1990 and 1994 USAC Silver Crown champion, and he was the Rookie of the Year in this division in 1989. He's from Placerville, California, and among other things, he runs a driving school.
Yes, and he's very happy. It's gone very, very well for him with that driving school. And right now, he's giving these guys a little lesson on how to run this racetrack, I'll tell you.
Sure is. He's coming up on Frankie Kerr in car number 67 to put a lap on him, and that's Dave Darlin in car number 56 that he is about to lap. So that would leave us with what?
Only if he gets around Darlin, there will only be 5 cars on the lead lap. 3 of them very close to each other right there. As you can see, he gets off sideways right there, trying to get under Dave Darlin and Frankie Kerr. Those two guys are battling for 5th and 6th back there, 6th and 7th, I should say. And meanwhile, they're trying to get lapped, or at least Sills is trying to get around them.
We are experiencing power hits here at the Speedway. Now, I don't know whether it's affecting your picture at home, but it is here at the Speedway. We lose picture every now and then, and we have to kind of fly by the seat of our pants. But it is going well for Jimmy Sills here as he leads, now coming up on the 67 car of Frankie Kerr.
That's Frankie Kerr. Oh, he gets real sideways, smokes that right rear. He doesn't want to do that. We're only 64 laps into the race. He doesn't want to do that very often, as now he gets around Kerr, and he leaves Kenny Irwin hung out to dry, trying to get around him, going down the back straightaway.
So Kenny Irwin is hung up behind Frankie Kerr at the moment. A car in between the two. Now Irwin will get by, coming off of corner number 4. And the next car that Jimmy Sills will put a lap on is that bright orange number 50 car driven by Wally Pancratz that we saw in some midget action at Ventura
earlier in the year.
California. Right.
Wally actually helped us a couple of years ago on the Ventura telecast, and he did a pretty doggone good job as our pit reporter.
Yep. So there's first and second, separated by 5, 6, sometimes 7, 8 car lengths, but Kenny Irwin is still staying in sight of the leader. There is Pancratz in car number 50, who's made the long haul out here from California to participate in our Silver Crown race. There
are owned by Bill O'Connor, one of the old aviators, the few pilots that started out this business some 20 years ago. Now he's about the only one left, or well, he is the only one left that still owns a race car. 65 laps to go as we watch Wally Pancratz down there. Frankie Kerr in the blue and red car right behind him, and the white 88 car right behind is David Steele, still running in third, but definitely losing some power.
And there is Bruce Field, who's going slowly down the pit area, and the race may be over for Bruce. He is a substitute driver for Johnny Parsons, who, if you're just joining us, we documented earlier that he crashed during the practice period for the midgets. He was unconscious for a while. They took him to Richmond Memorial Hospital. They did CAT scans. He's okay. In fact, he was released and is back here at the racetrack. But Bruce Field jumped into the Silver Crown car to substitute for him. However, Bruce is in the pit area. There's first and second once again, Sills and Irwin.
You have to give Bruce Field a lot of credit. He got in that car. He hasn't really run a Silver Crown car for 3 or 4 years. Got in there, did a terrific job. As we're watching Jimmy Sills lead the pack. And I'll tell you what, Kenny Irwin seems to have been second best all day long. He only led for just a couple laps, but he is gaining on Jimmy Sills right now.
Yeah, he is. I think it's just a matter, again, of cooling down the tires and then taking another run at who's ahead of you.
Well, it's going to be very, very interesting to see at the end of the race as we take a look at this.
There's David Steele, who led this race for quite a while, but he has fallen back now to 3rd position, or make that 4th position. And there is Tony Stewart in the 11 car. He is a lap down, however.
Yeah, Stewart is trying to get, it seems like he's running a little better now. Maybe as the fuel goes away, that car gets better and he picks up a little speed. If he can get back up, unlap himself, and then a yellow comes out, he might have a chance to get back up in the battle again.
Tony Stewart has only competed in one other Silver Crown race this year. He finished 4th at Phoenix. He did not participate at Indianapolis or at the Indiana State Fairgrounds at IRP or the State Fairgrounds, mainly because of his commitment at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 74 laps are complete at Richmond International Raceway. The Silver Crown race being led by Jimmy Sills. Jimmy Sills in car number 75, showing the way after 79 laps of the 134-lap USAC Silver Crown race here at Richmond, and running wheel-to-wheel Chuck Gurney in number 9 and Pat Abold in 65. They went through that corner tied together.
Pretty close, a little closer than I think Mr. Gurney would have liked, because he backed on down. Pat Abold is running in 5th. That means that they've lapped everybody but the first 4 cars. It's Sills leading, then it's Irwin in 2nd, very close to each other. A little ways back is David Steele, and Jack Hewitt is the only other car that's managed to keep up with those guys. Sills is setting a horrendous pace.
We saw Chuck Gurney's number 9 there a few minutes ago. He and Debbie are celebrating their 16th wedding anniversary today, and Debbie celebrated her birthday yesterday. So congratulations on both counts. There's the veteran Chuck Gurney from Livermore, California.
Used to be my roommate in the old days, but I think he likes his roommate now better.
Well, I wouldn't blame him for that. Chuck was 2nd in the most recent race at the State Fairgrounds in Indiana. He also finished in the top 10, an 8th place finish at Raceway Park, and was 7th in the first race of the year in Phoenix, Arizona. And as far as the point standings are concerned, he came into this event in 3rd place.
Yeah, he's having a terrible time here tonight, though. He's fallen way back. Just doesn't seem to have the handling at all in that race car. As we can see him just battles it. He looks like he pushes and he's loose. He's just a little bit of everything as he tries to keep that thing going.
There's David Steele right behind Chuck Gurney in the 88 car. David is in 3rd position.
That's Tony Stewart in the black number 11. He's trying to get up there and unlap himself. He's just unlapped himself with David Steele. He still has to catch the 2 leaders. That's got to be his main objective. They are, about a straightaway ahead of him, so he's got a ways to go to catch those guys. But if he can get back up there and get around them, then suddenly he's back in a position to maybe win this race.
But Jimmy Sills is the man of the hour, and he manhandles that car off of corner number 4, comes up on the number 94 car of Robbie Flock, and disposes of him rather easily.
You can see that everybody seems to be just a little bit loose. Everybody's kind of losing the back end, trying to hang on here. It's going to be interesting to see if those harder tires, most of these guys are running the harder tires, if they will last through all that abuse sliding them sideways. As we look at Tony Stewart, now in 6th and trying to catch the 2 guys with the lead lap so we can get him unlapped.
This is the A.J. Foyt, George Snyder-owned car. We already heard from Ziggy, who won a Silver Crown race. Well, sort of. He won at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. However, he was disqualified for being underweight, and so the win went to Dave Darland.
Exactly. Brian Tyler is out of the race. His number 5 car already being pushed back in there. He's been doing a terrific job in the sprint car so far this year, but out of this race, unfortunately.
Let's go back down to the racetrack and see what Jimmy Sills is doing. He is running with the Ryan Newman car once again. Seems like he's been running with that car a lot. Ryan obviously is not on pace either and has been lapped several times. Jimmy Sills puts him another lap down.
And look at Kenny Irwin, still about 10 car lengths back. He's just hanging in there. We're at 88 laps. He made a mistake early in the race by getting his tire hot. I think he's just trying to keep up the pace, keep Jimmy Sills in sight, and then when it comes down to the last 15 laps, he's going to have a little bit left for him, or at least he hopes he will.
Yellow flag is out. The yellow flag is on the racetrack for only the 2nd time in this event. It comes out on lap number 89. The caution flags do count in this race. Don't see any problem, do you, Larry?
No, I don't see anything on the racetrack. It might be debris on the racetrack. It's going to be interesting now, though. We're at 89 laps.
Yes.
The only car that's running up front right now that has the soft tires on would be David Steele. Be interesting to see if he pulls in, puts another tire on. Remember how fast he was the first 25 or 30 laps of this race? Well, there's only 44 laps left. So if he can go in, put on a soft tire, or maybe Tony Stewart might go in and put on a soft tire and take the chance of going back out there and blowing everybody away.
Looks like he may have been trying to signal to the pit crew. He's motioning.
I don't think I get back to the front with the way it is. You know, I'm handling fine. I just can't get wide open down the Okay.
Well, he's saying basically, I'm not sure if I do come in if I have enough time to get back to the front.
Exactly. They wanted him to come in. He said, I'm not sure I can get through the traffic the way things are going if I come in and put that softer tire on. So it's going to be interesting to see. Looks like Bentley Warren is going to come in.
Pat Abold is.
Pat Abold. He's another guy who's running up there fairly high. This will be very interesting to see. Tony Stewart has elected not to come in and make that change. Robbie Flock is another guy who's come in. Pat Abold is in. So we've got 3 or 4 guys that are going to come in. Dave Darland is just pulled in. He's got on one of the soft tires, so he also.
Okay.
So is Stewart going to come in, stay out there? He probably would have come in that lap if he was going to, right?
Yes, I think he would have. I think he's going to stay out there. Pat Abold has come in. Dave Darland has come in. Those guys are going to see if they can put on a softer tire, go back out, and have a big advantage.
Pat Abold has completed the tire change and moves back out. So does Dave Darland.
Be interesting to see. Both Darland had on the soft tire. Abold had on the soft tire also. So both those guys had planned to do this.
I'm just letting you know where you are. Copy.
Now let's see see a few other cars are coming down for a pit stop, including David Steele.
David Steele
is in.
David Steele and Gary Irvin. Both of those guys have on the soft tires. So both of those guys planned this pit stop. They all ran the softer tires planning on a pit stop if it happened between lap 70 and lap 100, which they got perfect timing. He went back out, though. He didn't stop.
That's right. He didn't. He just went through the pit area and decided that he wouldn't do it.
Oh, the green flag is going to come
out. That's
they've had the 1 to go sign. So they're back out. They're going to get the green this time. He waited too long. He had good strategy. He waited 2 or 3 laps, though, and now he's lost all that time.
Bentley Warren comes back out as the green flag waves, and the racing resumes here at Richmond. And we're watching Tony Stewart. Now, he has a lot better shot of getting back on the lead lap now than he ever has.
He certainly does. And if he can take advantage of it right now, we're going to find out very quickly whether he can get around these guys and then hope for a yellow flag. Right now, it looks like they're just pulling away from him a few car lengths, though.
Sure does. Tony Stewart is not on the lead lap. He is running in 5th position, but is a lap down, and he is trying to get back on the lead lap, but it looks like his efforts at the moment are futile.
Man, oh man, that yellow car, that 80 car back there, Johnny Heidenreich was real sideways. Almost got into that turn 2 fence coming on.
So Sills maintains the advantage over Kenny Irwin. There is Heidenreich right there in the number 80 car as he had problems. And right in front of him now is Jack Hewitt, who is in 4th place.
Got Jack Hewitt. He got a big advantage there. When David Steele went into the pit, he had to pull back in line where he pulled in, which lost him a lot of ground on the racetrack. That was a very, very costly mistake for David Steele. If he was going to pit, he should have done it earlier. When he didn't, he had to pull back in. He lost 10 or 12 track position cars out there, which is very costly in this kind of a race.
So Hewitt now is in 3rd spot and looking toward the front of the field. And he doesn't have all that far to go before he catches Sills and Irwin. Here is Jack Hewitt once again sliding off corner number 4 just like he did last year.
Hey, last year he ran that baby sideways and smoked that right rear tire all night long. We kept saying there is no way that thing's going to last. And he just kept going to the front, staying there, and getting faster all night long.
Do not count Jack Hewitt out of this race by any means. It gets a little high just behind the 2 that we were watching. He got a little bit high there in corner number 4 and lost a little bit of momentum. So his charge to the front for at least the moment is stalled somewhat.
35 laps to go, I think. As we see right now, Kenny Irwin is just hanging on, right? I believe he's running that thing as hard as it'll go, though, because he's up, down the racetrack. I mean, he's doing everything to catch up with Jimmy Sills, and Sills just seems to have that thing on a string.
There is Stewart, however, passing the 2nd place car of Irwin, and now let's see if he can pass Jimmy Sills and get back on the lead lap. It looked like for a while he might be able to, as Sills comes up on some slower traffic in the form of Chet Phillips.
The lap traffic caused him to back out of the throttle. He could see what was going to happen if he barreled on in there, and he was going to get caught by that lap traffic, so he just stayed out of it. Now he's down on the inside of Jimmy Sills. If he can pull this off and a yellow flag comes out, look out, baby, this is going to be a new race.
You bet it is. He still has not made the pass yet, and now he does. Look at him fight that wheel off the 3rd and 4th corners, and by golly, Tony Stewart has done it. He is back on the lead lap in 5th position.
He's on the lead lap in 5th position. Look at Pat Abel, though. Remember, he dropped in the back of the field with that brand new right rear tire. He's already up with your leaders, and he's going to be past them here pretty quick as he went around him very fast.
Wow. That was an aggressive move by Pat Abel. He also is about to get his lap back.
Again. Now, if he gets around Sills and a yellow comes out, boy, these guys are in a world of hurt because that fresh tire is really fast.
That is for sure. The thing that Jimmy Sills does not want above all other things between now and the end of the race is a caution flag, because if he has a caution, all these cars that just got their laps back are going to be able to encircle the entire racetrack, and we are going to have a shootout. But there are 103 laps completed now, so there are 31 more laps to go.
31 laps to go. Pat Abel, I believe, is the fastest race car on the racetrack. No question about it right now. boy,
man.
he got very close to Tony Stewart right there. They don't want to be touching wheels going this fast down this main straightaway, believe me.
Now, these guys are battling for position. This is for 5th spot, is it not?
Yes, you're correct.
Yep. Okay, so Pat Apel goes into 5th spot, and Tony Stewart is back to 6th now. Whoa, we got a lot more racing to show you from Richmond as the Silver Crown cars are winding up their part of USAC Thunder at Richmond. Welcome back to ESPN2's Thunder from Richmond International Raceway. Nearing the end of the event, Jimmy Sills leads Kenny Irwin, Jack Hewitt, David Steele, and Pat Apel. One of, if not the fastest cars on the racetrack is Jack Hewitt, who is running in 3rd position. Last year, Jack took the lead on lap 118 to win the race, and Larry, he is catching the front 2. Again, do not count out Jack Hewitt.
He certainly has. Those 2 guys behind him are both lap cars. They both went in and made a tire change. They both got softer tires on now. But Jack Hewitt, he is gaining on our 2 leaders. And I'll tell you what, he's doing it in the vintage Jack Hewitt style. Sideways and smoking the tires, but still going forward. You can see right there are the 2 leaders. And he is catching them ever so slightly, but he is gaining on them.
No doubt about it. He's catching both Irwin and Jimmy Sills, who continues to hang on the lead. And boy, he is just wishing that these last few laps would get over as quickly as possible. He's got so many things going against him, but still, he's able to hang on to the advantage. Jimmy Sills, Placerville, California. Here he comes down to complete lap number 112.
I tell you what, these first 3 guys have run a terrific race. They've ridden very, very fast. But the thing they don't want to happen right now, believe me, is a yellow flag, because Pat Apel is definitely the fastest race car on the racetrack. He's in 5th place. He's about a half lap behind these guys, but he is smoking around this place with that new tire.
There is Hewitt continuing to run in 3rd place. There is Pat Apel, who did come in for the pit stop to get the fresh tire, and he has moved now around the 88, so he moves into 4th place.
He's moved into 4th place. He got around David Steele while we were watching the front runners. Jackie Burke at number 87 is pulled in. He was running in 7th position. He's out of the race.
Well, I don't know whether either Kenny Irwin or Jack Hewitt are going to be able to do it or not, because Jimmy Sills is maintaining the advantage at the moment and doesn't seem to be losing any of that advantage. Now, here is Dave Darland, one of the other drivers that came in for a change of rubber during that recent caution period we had, and you can see how much faster that 56 car is than the leader, and now Sills is in a whole bunch of traffic.
Yeah, he got caught up there, but he got through it very, very well. He did a smart thing. He just backed out of the throttle, found a hole to go through. He did a very nice job. As you can see right there, Kenny Irwin Jr. is back a few car lengths and doesn't seem to be able to do much with him right now.
And that red, oh, I thought I saw some contact there. I thought I saw Gary Irwin possibly have some contact now. Gary Irvin have some contact there with Stewart, maybe?
Yes, there's some, those guys are running very close back there in the pack. They're all trying to, you know, they all want to gain as many positions as they can. Irvin's a little loose, as we saw him come right there and following Chuck Gurney around. But Kenny Irwin still trying to catch up. But I tell you what, Jimmy Sills got his act together a little bit there when I think the radio guys told him that they were gaining on him, and once they did, he took off a little bit.
Yeah, you can have spotters and you can have radio communication in the Silver Crown division, and it helps.
Certainly does. We can see that even the guys with the new tires are having a terrifically bad time getting around Jimmy Sills. So Sills is still running very, very fast. And, you know, Darling's got a brand new tire on it. He can't get around.
All right, now we have just heard, we've been eavesdropping on Kenny Irwin's crew, and they have told him to start reeling him in. I don't know whether he's going to be able to or not, but at least the command has been given, and Kenny's going to give it his best shot.
Well, 15 laps is, he's got a lot of ground to make up, because all of a sudden Sills has just pulled away. Irwin did not let him get that far ahead on purpose, believe me. He's been running pretty hard all night long, and right now Sills seems to be pulling away ever so slightly.
Jimmy Sills in the Stanton racing machine, powered by Mopar. His best finish so far in 1996 has been a 7th at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. He has been in victory lane 6 times in his Silver Crown career. You saw Dave Darland go by him, and now that's Paul Durant in car number 95, who we saw in the pit area for a while, but now he's back out there on the racetrack, and there is second place Kenny Irwin.
Yeah, Irwin's running that thing for all it's worth. He's going as fast as he can go. Look at Durant. One thing that Sills doesn't want to do is get caught up racing these lap cars and get that thing, you know, have a crash like we saw happen in the 2000 race at IRP a few weeks ago.
We mentioned earlier in the show that Kenny Irwin's sprint car victory last week may have been a bit of revenge for the fact that he has been passed on the final lap while leading twice so far this year. What he is hoping is that the tables turn here and he's the one that can make the pass on the final lap while running second and walk away with the victory here tonight. But it's not going that way at the moment. There is Sills crossing the line and completing lap number 123.
That's Chet Phillip in the 37 car right in front of him, and as you can see, he's still much faster than most of the race cars on the racetrack. About half a straightaway behind Kenny Irwin in that black 14 car, doing everything he can do. He's running that thing sideways. He's up on the bank. He's everywhere. But with 10 laps to go, I don't know whether he can get it done or not.
Last year, Jimmy Sills finished 13th. He finished 13th in the points, and he is currently 17th in the points this year, while Irwin is the points leader in this division as we went into this event.
Dave Darland has just taken 6th place. He got around David Steele. David Steele, obviously on that soft tire, did not make a pit stop, and that tire's going away very, very quickly, so he's lost another position.
The interval does not seem to be shrinking very much between first and second. Irwin is just not having much luck at the moment, reeling in the leader, Jimmy Sills, and now there are only 8 laps to go.
Right, he's not gaining on him very much, and Jack Hewitt, who's running in third, is keeping about equidistant behind Irwin. So all 3 of those cars running about the same speed and have been for the last 6 or 8 laps. So it's going to take some sort of help, I believe, for Kenny Irwin to get up and challenge as we take a look at Jack Hewitt.
There is the winner of last year's race, Jack Hewitt, who is running third here tonight. He tried the same kind of strategy that he employed last year. Actually, last year, he had to get into this feature race by winning the qualifying race, and from there he came on to win this entire event. So it's been a little bit easier this year for
Jack Hewitt, but you know, last year he had that 6-cylinder car.
That's right. Those
cars were lighter than the 8-cylinder cars, and they had some sort of an advantage on the asphalt. This year with the 8-cylinder car, he proved that it wasn't just the 6 cylinders. He could run pretty doggone fast with 8 cylinders.
That's right. 5 more laps to go for Jimmy Sills. That completes lap number 129.
You can see all these cars are getting a little bit loose. All those tires are getting worn. All these race cars are running a little slower, and the back end's hanging out there. You can see Jimmy Sills really working that steering wheel, trying to keep that thing straight. Unfortunately for Kenny Irwin back there in second, he's got exactly the same problem.
It's been a wild night here in Richmond. We had an incredible crash during the midget race in which about 6 cars or more than that were involved in an accident over in turn number 2 on the lead of the backstretch, and it involved a huge inferno. Fortunately, no drivers were seriously injured. Now we hear the possibility of Sills running low on fuel.
Terry Stamp is the car owner. I went over to congratulate him. He said, not yet. We may run out of fuel. We don't feel confident that the car will make it all the way. Now it's just a waiting game to see if the thing will make it.
Wow. So don't tune away yet, folks. We are only a couple of laps away from the finish of this race, but it could be a fuel situation for Sills. There's the completion of lap number 132. Less than 2 laps to go for Jimmy, but is he going to make it?
Well, I'll tell you what, if he runs out of fuel, he's probably going to be pretty upset. They have run a lot of green flag laps, though, and he's running the heck out of that race car. He's been on the throttle a lot of the time, and it could mean that he's going to be low on fuel. We'll just have to wait and see. We got one car slowing down. It looks like the 94 car, Robbie Block. Yep. It might be a fuel problem. Who knows?
So we've got less than 3/4 of a mile to go for Jimmy Sills. He looks okay coming out of turn number 2 and down the backstretch. He heads into turn number 3. Is Sills going to be able to make it? I believe he will. Here he comes off of corner number 4. And Jimmy Sills wins the Silver Crown race here at Richmond. Second position goes to Kenny Irwin. And we're watching Jack Hewitt finish in third and Abold in fourth.
Abold almost made up a complete lap and got about Jack Hewitt. He was the fastest car on the racetrack for the last 35 laps.
So Jimmy Sills, a 43-year-old driver from Placerville, California, wins his 7th career Silver Crown race here at Richmond tonight. I remember last year his car ended up against the wall over in turn number 3, but not tonight. He's the winner. Dave?
Gary Stanton, took you a while to break into a smile. That was pretty nerve-wracking, wasn't it?
Well, we could hear it kind of running out of gas. I didn't know if he was going to make it or not.
Was he talking to you on the radio?
I don't have any radios. I don't have anything to say to that guy when he's out on the racetrack.
Well, all you got to say to him tonight is congratulations. Great job.
He did a great job. I'd like to thank Mopar for helping us out. They gave us some great parts. We got all the power in the world.
All right, there is the winning car owner. We'll take a break and come back with a winning driver. Jimmy Sills has won it with about yay much fuel left in the tank. We'll be right back to wrap it up from Richmond. Onboard camera coverage of tonight's racing action brought to you by the good folks at CarQuest Auto Parts. For your nearest CarQuest Auto Parts store, give them a call. 1-800-492-PART.
And also, we'd like to take our hat off and thank Equipment Supply Company for providing us that blue thing there on the left of your screen. That allows you to see the onboard cameras. It's right next to the scoring pylon here at Richmond. Let's take a look at the top 5 finishers here tonight. Jimmy Sills comes home the winner. Kenny Irwin Jr. finishes second. Jack Hewitt is third. Pat Abold fourth. And Dave Darland finishes in 5th position. Now, Jimmy Sills has not yet found victory lane. I don't know where he went, but here comes the car, and he is a long way from victory lane. They got to go down toward turn number 3 and then come back around on this side of the wall. So we'll talk to the winner, Jimmy Sills, in our next segment when we come back in just a moment.
We're back. Jimmy Sills finally made it to victory lane. Where the heck did you go, man?
Well, we had no radio contact, so I didn't know that Tony stopped and got a tire, and so I thought we ran second. So we were pulling in there to load up and go home.
You put him a lap down a long time ago, man. He was history. It was Irvin that was chasing you.
Well, I know we passed Kenny early in the race, but I thought maybe he just got better at the end, and a lot better. A couple of those other guys, I knew that they'd stopped and got tires because they were smoking theirs off when we went by them.
Well, now, your owner said you hadn't been in victory lane so long, he figured maybe you didn't know your way back. It must feel good to win this one. Talk about the strategy a little bit.
Well, we went with a little harder tire than the other guys had on, and we were a little worried because we didn't qualify. We qualified for 6th, but we kind of hoped that it would come to us later in the race and that the tires wouldn't seal over and be too hard, but they worked out good for us.
How does it feel as a former champion to finally find your way back in here with all the photographers and all the fans?
You know, we've had a lot of bad luck, you know, and this Mopar has been running great. You know, a lot of people blame our bad luck on the motor, but this thing has hit good from day one. We never have to take the hood off and work on it. I mean, this thing makes good power. I can't say enough about the Mopar, but we've had a lot of bad luck. We had some fuel pickup problems last year, and we were leading the Holman 100 the other day for 70 laps and had a tire go flat. So I hope maybe luck's turning around. I think Charlene sat in the car earlier, and I think maybe she brought us some luck.
All right, congratulations, man. Jimmy Sills, first driver since the late Neil Bonnet in 1975 to bring a Mopar to victory lane at Richmond. That's going to wrap it up for tonight. Remember, we'll be back July 3rd with Thunder, the Winchester Midget. See you then.